Yo, what's going on, people? Can everyone hear me all right? See me all right? I can only hang up for a little bit. I got to roll in about 20 minutes. I got to go to this open Q&A I'm hosting for the Leo Strauss course, basically for anyone who's thinking about enrolling but isn't sure if they want to or not, or they just have questions about how it's going to work, or they want to come sniff us out, check out the vibe. That's going to be at the top of this hour, so in like 20 minutes. I actually put a link in the show notes, or you can see it here on the screen if you want to come learn about the Leo Strauss course I'm doing with Michael Millerman. The first seminar is going to be not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So there's plenty of time to enroll still. And yeah, we'll just answer any questions you have. You can kind of come see what the people are like, see what the vibe will be like. Anyway, I just wanted to jump on here because shit is kicking off in the world. And I'm just feeling kind of energized, honestly, by it all. Not to be glib, because a lot of things are really messed up. But I just basically wanted to say, buckle up, boys, because I think 2021 is just going to be so epic. I mean, I made a video about this not too long ago, but basically, I just got to Austin like 11 or 12 days ago. I've been here now. And as you can see, I'm in this kind of bare room. I'm building a little studio. This is like my office, but it's also going to be a podcast, like a live video podcast studio. Stuff is everywhere, as you can see. And already, man, since I've been here, like I've been hanging out with Alex Moyer, the chick who made TFW No GF. She and I have become pretty good friends, and she has like a whole gang of friends here and collaborators. And Barrett Avner from the Contain podcast is on his way here. My assistant Ben, who many of you might remember from past shows, he was helping me in Albuquerque, and he appeared in some of the stuff. I'm moving him out here also. So at the same time, though, like, as all my shit is kicking off really well. So like the Millerman course, we already have like 20 people enrolled. I think it's already going to be bigger than the Bataille course. It's going to be bigger than my last course. Like every time I do a serious course in philosophy, and then later in the year, I'm moving into science. I'm going to be doing a data science course in a couple months. Everyone is bigger than the last. And I'm just like, when I look at independent creators such as myself, it's like they're doing like, people like me are doing better and better, and it's so fucking exciting. And then I look at the mainstream institutions, and it's like they're becoming more and more hysterical. So it's just increasingly clear to me that I really do feel like we're kind of going through some kind of cultural singularity, like right now. Because so for instance, like I look at like, I don't know if you noticed, Ariel Pink and John Mouse were observed in Washington, D.C. at the time of the Capitol events. And they got a ton of flack. And I don't know them personally. I met Ariel one time, but I'm not close to them. But I have a lot of friends who are close to them. And basically, it's what you're going to see is more and more kind of genuine creative geniuses get canceled by the kind of left-wing institutions or whatever you want to call them. What it really means, like this is genuinely a good thing, because what it means is that all of the most talented and legitimate thinkers, creators, genuine artists, genuine philosophers, the genuine geniuses are more and more being pushed to the outside. All that's going to mean is that the outside is going to get better and better. So it's like, I feel for people who are losing jobs or whatever, because in that short term, it's very stressful. I totally get that. And I'm sensitive to that. I've been through that myself. But it's increasingly just painfully obvious that once you get through that kind of short-term stress and anxiety of losing your job or whatever, the freedom that you gain, and then the connections you make, whether it be just through like other people who have been canceled or something like Indie Thinkers, like where I host all my courses. So like whenever I do a course, all the participants get put into the same forum. So, and I've done like 4 courses now, and I'm doing more over the next, months. And so like that whole network is incredibly badass people. It's like engineers who work at Google or Amazon or whatever, who just want more intellectual freedom, right? They don't want to be like James Damord, right? So they come hang out with me and Indie Thinkers, right? Or it's like founders even, or investors who are actually really smart people, and they want to do more work, and they want to write philosophy, they want to read philosophy, they want to genuinely kind of understand things better and seek the truth more rigorously than you can pretty much anywhere else. It's not like I am giving them the truth. All I'm doing, since I've been like, since I've gone all in on the outside, is I just create spaces and structures that bring together people that are passionately devoted to seeking the truth. And when you put all those people together in this kind of post-cancellation moment where the power of independent creators seems to be rising every day, and the hysteria and incompetence of mainstream prestige institutions gets worse and worse every day, it's like, it is just from my perspective, it's like everything is going exactly according to plan. I think it's really, really good as long as you are truly invested in the outside. You have to buckle up because it's going to get crazier and crazier, I think. But if you truly have investments in genuine intellectual or countercultural networks, and by that I don't mean anything fancy. I just mean people that are committed to figuring out the truth and keeping an independent mind and sharing their reports and their observations with other people who have independent minds. I mean, in today's world, that's one of the rarest things in the world. And therefore, it's one of the most powerful, because if you have that, you have a kind of basic calibration to reality. And there's virtually nothing that's more concretely valuable than being able to have a fairly accurate map of reality, or at least a more accurate map than other people's maps, basically. And so, yeah, from where I'm sitting in Austin, in this like little place I just moved into, I'm just like super pumped. But I'm also, on the other hand, I recognize like people are freaking out. I recognize people are super kind of scared and nervous. Like, is there going to be this big like left-wing fascist woke reaction with the Biden Harris administration? And it's like, yeah, maybe. So buckle up, but also like just and I'm not giving financial advice, but it's like the way I think about it is, as long as I own Bitcoin, and as long as I have close personal relationships with smart, truly independent thinkers who I trust, not that they have the truth, but just that they're independent, and that together as a group, we're going to keep our head on straight and figure out how to navigate in the world. Like, if you have that and you have, holdings of things like Bitcoin or whatever the case might be, as long as you are, in other words, invested in the outside structures that are going to succeed and grow precisely as the institutional domains get increasingly corrupted and hysterical, then you become anti-fragile to all the chaos. And I just like, to me, this is so obvious. And I'm just like, on a day-to-day basis, I'm so pumped. And, like, I'm doing these courses like the Leo Strauss course and many more over the next few months, and or at least over the next few years, at least a couple more over the next few months. And man, the people I meet are just like so fantastic. And yeah, I've just basically wanted to jump on here because I wanted to give you an update on where I'm at and what I'm building and all of that. The Leo Strauss course is, the first seminar is going to be not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So if you're curious about possibly, doing an intensive study on Leo Strauss and all of his fascinating and quite influential ideas, you can come to the Q&A, which we're hosting literally in like about 20 minutes. It's totally free and open. It's just for people who maybe want to enroll, but they're not sure. I put the link there. You can see it in the show notes, and it's right on top of the screen there. And so, yeah, but even if you're not interested in that, it's not. That's just what's on my mind right now, since that's what I've been working on this week, since it's starting soon. But man, it's like we already have like a bunch of people enrolled in that. It's like every course I make makes a little bit more money. And then there's a bunch of people who are in the Indie Thinkers Network who are doing their own things like blogs or YouTube channels or podcasts. And they are like getting increasing traction also. And like, it just seems to me, one of the main observations I wanted to share basically is that when I look at people who just ignore like the hysterical mainstream institutions, and they just focus on doing their own work and talking with the people around them who they trust. Again, they don't trust everything that the people around them say. They trust the independence of mind of the people around them, and they just cultivate independent networks. And they just work on their own independent creative work, disregarding, social opinion in mainstream institutions. These people are thriving. Like, all these people are awesome, and they're thriving. Is the way that I see it. Is what I see happening around me. But all the people who are like, trying to worry about, how they're going to like keep their institutional job, or how they're going to, what's going to happen with national politics. And they're like debating, who's better, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? What's going to happen in Washington, D.C.? Or even like, frankly, with the big tech conflicts, like obviously tech is cracking down. There is, I think, some legitimate concern that there's going to be a kind of woke reaction where big tech and the Biden-Harris administration are increasingly cozy and really do increase their clampdown on like any dissident thought on public, platforms. I think that's very possible. So again, buckle up for sure. But it's also not like, if you shouldn't be surprised by this. Like, you should have already updated your mental model like 6 months ago and realized all of this is going to gradually come more and more. And the only solution is to try to be one step ahead and invest in outside institutions, whether it be my courses or like indie thinkers or your own things. Like I'm not shilling for my own things. I'm sharing what I'm doing and I'm explaining why I'm doing it. But you can totally do your own system, build your own system with your own friends, whatever. And this is already happening. Of course, many Discord servers, many private DM groups. All I'm saying is I see a lot of people who aren't fully investing in the outside enough, and that's why they're so anxious. But like none of what's happening right now is surprising me, because I pretty much, like more than a year ago, just basically assumed the worst would happen, right? Like just whatever you fear about maybe happening politically in the next few years or whatever, just my advice to you is to literally just act as if it's already happening or it's already happened. So just assume there is like a literal like woke fascist regime in place, and it's basically kicking off any dissident thought whatsoever off all social platforms. Assume that you just a second got kicked off Facebook, you just got kicked off Twitter, you just got kicked off YouTube, and you're completely closed out. Just assume that's going to happen tomorrow, or it already happened just now. What would you do? Right? Start doing that now is the way that I see it. And I'm not trying to, alarm you. These things might not happen. This is just, to me, a good anti-fragile kind of strategy, a good orientation for thinking about these things. Because if you act like that and you really buckle up and you act as if the worst is happening, all it really does is it puts you ahead of the curve just in case things happen. So like, think about people who bought Bitcoin like more than 5 years ago. These are people who were intrinsically invested in the outside. Like they were paying close attention to what they thought was most interesting and live and real and promising and innovative. And even though most people thought it was stupid, right? Most normal people, most prestige institutions either completely ignored Bitcoin or they kind of, made fun of it as a bubble or as a fake fad or something like that. But the people who were truly committed to radical truth-seeking processes and fundamentally innovative technological frontiers, they owned Bitcoin from early days, and now they're fucking millionaires. So I think that's like a really good case study, or it's a really good parable, if you will, of how things are operating and going to continue to operate. Personally, it's like you need to go to the outer edge, the absolute outside of the most outside edge of wherever you are, and always be looking for what's truly alive, what's truly honest, what's truly breathing and genuine and authentic, and invest in that, connect with that. Obviously, you need to find your own rhythm, you need to find your own voice, and you need to find your own, kind of creative, independent vector, if you will, to use a Deleuzean term, line of flight, one might say. But it's always intrinsically going to be connected to other people, and you're going to be trying to look for the outermost edges, the outermost frontier of wherever you're sitting, and just invest in that more and more. Increasingly move your, quote unquote portfolio. I don't just mean financial, but I mean emotional and psychological and everything. Move your portfolio of investments, not just financial, from the institutional mainstream normie way of doing things, increasingly to the outside, to people who you see as genuine, as honest, as courageous, and as truly innovative, seeking some kind of fundamental truth that's not just bullshit social opinion, basically. So buckle up for sure. It's not going to be easy. I don't underestimate the challenges of navigating this kind of accelerating cultural singularity that we seem to be living through. But I really do think that if you have your head on straight and you make the right investments in other people and other projects, and namely really just optimizing for your own creative independence, your independence of mind, but also your creative production, right? Like actually getting out into the world what you think and trying to make sense out of things actively. Because if you're not actively thinking and talking with other active independent thinkers, then you're never going to really have your own independent perspective. Even if you think it's swirling in your head and you think you're super smart and you think you have like really, genius diagnoses of what's going on, if you're not writing it down and you're not communicating it to other smart people, then it doesn't really exist. You're not really as smart as you think you are. So I just felt like this morning, I don't know, I just felt something kind of felt bubbling up in me. I felt like I wanted to do a live stream because I haven't done a solo, kind of live stream where I just give you an update on how I'm seeing things and how I'm feeling. I haven't done that in a little while. So this morning, I just felt like it. That's why I'm here. I got to go in just about like 5 minutes or so to do the Q&A for the Leo Strauss course, which is about to start in 10 minutes. So definitely coming along to that if you're curious about what we're doing with the Leo Strauss course. But if you're not interested in that, we have a few other courses coming up And Indie Thinkers, the network itself is always open to invitation requests. So you can join that at any time apart from the courses, even though they, the course communities are put inside Indie Thinkers also. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I'm super excited about Austin. To me, Austin feels really hot. Like it feels like, I think so far, I've only been here for about 2 weeks, and it feels like a really, really good decision because, yeah, like I said, I'm hanging out with people like Alex Moyer. And I think, honestly, I think more and more, my hope is that all of the kind of most badass, kind of genuinely radical kind of creators and thinkers are going to hopefully migrate to Austin. Is because I think there's just some reason to believe this for a few reasons. One is that Texas has a strong, tradition of basically protecting, freedom in this kind of classic American sense. I feel like the classic American sense of freedom that I love, that I always have loved, and is one of the reasons why I moved back from England, is probably, arguably, kind of best enshrined in kind of the Texas culture, one might say. It even says in the Texas state constitution that they're allowed to secede. So to me, this is like my ultimate insurance policy, is kind of like, if things get really bad in America, then probably Texas will secede. And then that'll be like a pressure valve blowing off some steam, and maybe being the best place to be. Who knows? We'll see. But another thing is that there's just a lot of people, there's a lot of crypto people here, which is why I'm kind of one of the many reasons I'm bullish on Texas. And there's people like Cody Wilson, who, people give him a lot of shit, but to me, he's a pretty badass kind of outlaw figure. And I've always admired outlaws, for better or for worse. Truly rebellious outlaws usually have a complex set of character traits and personal histories that maybe are complicated and ambiguous. And I don't know him well. I mean, I haven't met him yet, but I think he's a badass, for better or for worse. That's not necessary. I haven't met him yet, so I don't really know it. I don't know enough about him personally. I know some people, accuse him of stuff or whatever, but I don't know. And but his basic project when it comes to defense distributed and 3D printed guns and generalizing that whole culture, I'm pretty into that big time, and I think he's a pretty badass dude. Without commenting on whatever else people say about him, which I don't really know. So yeah, there's stuff like that. People like Cody Wilson, but there's also Alex Moyer and her like group of friends here. I just think like there is going to be more and more kind of badass stuff going on here. I mean, there's Alex Jones, who is also in Texas. He, I'm not like a Alex Jones disciple, but I do think that he's just a good example of someone who's like radically independent, obviously, and for better or for worse again. But he does whatever the fuck he wants, and he's built this insanely massive and powerful platform. I mean, you got to respect that. So I'm pretty interested in that, and that what that represents really. It seems like in Texas is a kind of attractor for these types of like truly wild and independent people, and that's one of the reasons why I came here. So we'll see. But so far, it feels legit. I've already met a few people from the internet, and yeah, like I said, Barrett Avner from the Contain podcast is coming here, and my assistant Ben is coming here. So like in this room you see behind me, I'm going to be doing live video podcasts here like regularly, consistently. I'm going to, paint the walls and make it fucking dope. So I'm pumped. I'm super pumped, but I see a lot of people out there who are nervous and anxious about, the state of politics. So yeah, sometimes I just want to kind of jump on here and remind you all to, yeah, sure, buckle up, get prepared, be ready. It could get increasingly crazy politically, but in the end, like the people that are most desperate and anxious and terrified are the people who are the leaders of mainstream prestige institutions. I mean, these people are shaking in their boots. These people have real problems to worry about. Their entire grip on society is being eroded. So those are the people who should be afraid, and they are afraid. But for independent people who just want to think honestly and think freely and think creatively with other independent thinkers, and they want to write books, and you want to, make videos or podcasts, and just want to basically seek the truth in whatever, discipline or tradition you're working in, whether that's writing or philosophy or science or art or whatever. Like if that's you and that's what you're all about, there's never been a better time than today, ever. Because it's never been cheaper to create your own content. Everyone knows that, obviously. But more importantly, And what's really unique about this moment is that all of the prestige institutions are being radically and rapidly discredited. So it's like, if you have a genuinely unique independent perspective, like your stock price, it should be higher now than ever. So, and if it's not, it's never been easier to like find that, to express that and make your stock price rise. Because there's like this really super, super strong demand and desire in the public for genuinely independent thinkers and creators. So it's like, if you are that, it's really just a matter of discipline, putting in the hard work, waking up every day and creating content and putting it out there and staying focused, staying motivated. And again, it all goes back to what I was saying before, finding legit people who are also genuinely independent thinkers, who are also ambitious, and just surround yourself with those people. And for that type of person doing that type of thing, it's never been better. It's never been more exciting. So I just wanted to share how my kind of radically different feeling and kind of emotional temperature around the political situation right now compared to so many people that I encounter. It's like, if you're feeling scared about the political situation, you might want to just reevaluate, like, where are your investments really? Maybe you're invested in dying institutions in one way or another, and maybe more ways than you realize. And so just start allocating your investments. And again, I'm not just financial. I'm not giving financial advice, but just in general, your emotional, psychological, and if you decide maybe also financial investments, however you think about it, moving that away from dying institutions. Maybe that's a good idea. I got to go literally in like 2 minutes max to go do this open Q&A, which you should come to, by the way. If you want to ask about the Leo Strauss course, just there's a link in the show notes, or you can see it right there on the screen. It's going to be starting in 3 minutes. I got to jump over there in a minute. Michael Millerman will be there. If you have any questions about Leo Strauss or what the course will involve, come sign up. You just have to drop your email at the link, and we'll see you on Zoom in a minute. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, folks. Just want to kind of wrap this up. I'll be back on here more regularly. I'm going to be, one of my major goals for 2021 is really blowing up the podcast and the YouTube channel. They're basically the same thing. So yeah, subscribe to the channel and click the bell for future updates. I'll be doing more live streams like this, and I'm going to be bringing badass people into this room. So stay tuned. It's going to be sweet. It'll be interesting for you to watch it grow over the next year. This room and kind of the whole, I'm really trying to blow up the Other Life brand as a kind of, as a media project. So yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the bell so you get notifications. And yeah, come ask about Leo Strauss course if you're possibly interested in enrolling. I'm going to be doing that in just about a minute. So, all right, gang, subscribe to the podcast, Other Life podcast, baby. Get that on your phone so you can listen back to this later more conveniently. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. As always, I'll keep you posted, and I'll see you back here soon. Later.